Hollywood just lost one of its brightest lights. Diane Keaton, the woman who redefined what it meant to be a leading lady, who made awkwardness look cool and independence look iconic, has passed away at the age of 79. Her family confirmed she died in California on October 11th, leaving behind a legacy that feels almost impossible to measure. For more than 5 decades, Diane wasn't just acting, she was rewriting the script on how women could exist in Hollywood. From Annie Hall to The Godfather, from The First Wives Club to Something's Gotta Give, every performance felt personal, unpredictable, and deeply human. She wasn't glamorous in the traditional sense, and that's exactly why everyone loved her. The hats, the suits, the nervous laughter, it all became part of a persona that spoke to generations who never quite fit the mold. And now, hearing the words, "Diane Keaton is gone," feels surreal, like the end of a movie we never wanted to finish. But her story didn't start with fame, money, or even the Oscars. It started with a young dreamer named Diane Hall, chasing something bigger than herself. And what came next would turn her into one of the most beloved actresses of all time. Before Hollywood ever knew her as Diane Keaton, she was just Diane Hall, a restless dreamer growing up in Los Angeles, already obsessed with performance, language, and the strange beauty of standing out. She wasn't born into fame, but she was born with that spark, the kind of curiosity that doesn't fade, even when people tell you to be realistic. In the late 1960s, while the world was changing fast, Diane packed up her fears and walked straight into the chaos of New York theater. She joined the cast of the groundbreaking Broadway musical Hair in 1968, a show that would become a cultural lightning bolt. Back then, she wasn't the face on the poster, she was the understudy for the role of Sheila, quietly studying every move, every moment, every line. But even in the background, she stood out. People noticed her quirky confidence, her refusal to act like anyone else. That same year, she auditioned for a play written by a then up-and-coming comedian named Woody Allen, Play It Again, Sam. The chemistry between them was instant, both on stage and off. Her performance earned her a Tony Award nomination and put her name in rooms she'd only dreamed of entering. It wasn't fame yet, but it was the beginning of something unstoppable. Diane was the kind of actress who didn't chase glamour, she chased truth, raw, awkward, funny truth. And soon, that fearless authenticity would become her superpower once Hollywood came calling. When Hollywood finally came calling, it didn't just knock, it kicked the door wide open. Diane's leap from Broadway to the big screen began with a quiet but powerful role that would define an entire generation of cinema, Kay Adams in The Godfather. She played the calm at the center of chaos, the woman who loved a man the world feared. But even surrounded by giants like Marlon Brando and Al Pacino, Diane's presence was impossible to ignore. She wasn't just acting, she was observing, dissecting, transforming. And then came Annie Hall. The movie that changed everything. That nervous laugh, the oversized men's suits, the hesitant glances, none of it was manufactured. It was Diane being Diane, unfiltered and magnetic. The world fell in love with her authenticity, and in 1977, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress. But Annie Hall did more than earn her an Oscar, it sparked a cultural shift. Suddenly, it was okay for women to be odd, to be clever, to be unsure of themselves and still command every scene. Diane didn't just play the part, she became a symbol of what it meant to be beautifully human in a world obsessed with perfection. By the time the 1980s rolled around, Diane had already proven she could win awards. Now, she wanted to take risks. Films like Shoot the Moon and Baby Boom showed her range, Mothers on the Edge, women balancing ambition and heartbreak, always a touch of chaos beneath the calm. She became a mirror for working women who were told they couldn't have it all, and her performances made them believe maybe they could. But Diane wasn't content with just acting, she wanted to shape the stories, too. In 1987, she directed her first film, Heaven, a strange, beautiful project that proved she wasn't afraid to experiment. Critics didn't always understand her choices, and she didn't care. She was chasing something more than applause. Every movie she made in that era, from Crimes of the Heart to Father of the Bride, carried a mix of humor, pain, and resilience that felt deeply personal. And just when Hollywood thought it could predict her next move, she'd do something entirely different. That's what made Diane Keaton impossible to label. She wasn't a movie star playing roles, she was an artist building worlds. Behind the cameras, Diane's life was as intriguing as her films. She dated some of the most powerful men in Hollywood, Al Pacino, Warren Beatty, and yes, Woody Allen, but none of those love stories lasted. And Diane was okay with that. In interviews, she often spoke about how relationships fascinated her, but independence fulfilled her. "I don't date," she said simply in a 2023 interview, with that classic Keaton laugh. She didn't need a fairy tale ending, she was already writing her own. Then, in her 50s, Diane did something unexpected again, she became a mother. She adopted 2 children, Dexter and Duke, and it changed her life completely. She once admitted she never thought motherhood would happen for her, but when it did, it felt right, like another character she was always meant to play. "It wasn't an urge I couldn't resist," she said, "it was a thought I'd been thinking for a long time." That thought turned into her proudest role, not as a star, but as a mom who did it her own way. Long before red carpets became Instagram runways, Diane Keaton was setting the standard, by breaking every one of them. While others were chasing gowns and glitter, she showed up in men's suits, bowler hats, and turtlenecks. It wasn't rebellion for shock value, it was authenticity. Her Annie Hall wardrobe became an instant revolution. Suddenly, women everywhere were stealing from their boyfriends' closets and calling it fashion. Over time, Diane's look became as iconic as her voice: crisp suits, bold belts, and a smile that said she knew something you didn't. In her 70s, she was still rocking the same style and loving it. "I still love a turtleneck, a hat, and a jacket," she told Women's Wear Daily in 2024. That wasn't just fashion, that was armor, identity, and art all at once. And through every decade, from film premieres to coffee runs, Diane's image reminded the world that aging isn't something to hide, it's something to own. While many of her peers quietly stepped away from the spotlight, Diane never stopped moving. Even in her late 70s, she was taking on new roles, laughing louder than ever, and proving that energy doesn't belong to the young, it belongs to the passionate. Her final film, Summer Camp, 2024, reunited her with legends like Kathy Bates and Eugene Levy in a comedy about friendship, fun, and aging on your own terms. It was the perfect goodbye without knowing it, light, joyful, a little chaotic, and full of heart. In an interview years earlier, she told AARP magazine, "Slowing down isn't something I relate to. The goal is to continue, in good and bad, all of it." That was Diane, unafraid of time, unbothered by trends, and unwilling to let life pass quietly. Even near the end, she was doing what she loved, telling stories, making art, and showing up. Now, as Hollywood mourns, what remains isn't just her films, it's the spirit behind them. Diane Keaton didn't need to play a superhero to be powerful. Her superpower was honesty, the kind that made you laugh, cry, and feel seen all at once. She gave awkward people confidence, serious people laughter, and lonely people hope. Her life was proof that it's never too late to start over, to love differently, to live boldly. And though she's gone, her energy lingers, in every hat, every laugh, every fearless woman who refuses to apologize for being herself. Diane Keaton once said she never understood the idea of mellowing out. Maybe that's why she burned so bright, right to the end. Because legends don't fade, they just keep inspiring. So tell us, what's the one Diane Keaton moment you'll never forget? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the icons who made Hollywood magic real.